recently I've been trying to read a lot more fiction, and I'm gonna make a video about this because I think it's important. But the book I read, and I read this because I knew the movie was coming out, as I read Project Hail Mary. What a good book. I think if I had read this book in high school and middle school, if it was out, like, it was such a good book. I think it would have motivated me to strive to be a rocket scientist. It would have inspired me to actually try in math classes and science classes. So good. But instead, I read books like 1984 and Atlas Shrugged, so now I'm skeptical of big government, schizophrenic, and also racist. The book, and also the movie, I think, have been such a breath of fresh air. Like, it is the most feel-good movie, most hope-core movie that I have seen in forever. It was so good. It was so good because it was about hope, and it was about we're in this together, you know? It was about humanity working together, having a common cause. And I saw it three times in the theater. I literally saw it 2 nights ago. I saw it, and every time, think about the last time you went in a movie and people clapped. People clapped every time I saw this movie. Not only that, it was one of the most lively movie experiences I've ever had. I could go into that more, but people really like this movie, and I think that's because it is a dose of hope. I don't know if you've been on the news recently. You probably have. You've probably been on the internet. You probably have 30 plus hours of screen time. It's pretty doom and gloom. It honestly is. I think if you have the average algorithm, it is pretty depressing, but here's the thing. I think that this movie was a light in the darkness. It had no agenda. There's no political agenda. And I was thinking about this. Honestly, I love that. I think a lot of people, especially in like the political spheres, they point at the other side and say, keep your agenda out of movies. And both sides would think, I only want my agenda, my values in the movie. But here's the thing. I think this movie did such a good job of pushing no agenda, no politics. It was a good movie. People loved it. You can tell it was made with passion. It is an original story, based off a book, but it's an original story in the sense of how movies go. Like, most movies recently are part of franchises and series and sequels. It's good. It's a good movie. And kind of, so along with Hope, and also along the lines of space, just within the last week, we sent people to the moon. And you probably already know about this. It's one of those things where it's like, is it your algorithm or is it real life? But I felt like before the launch, people didn't know about the Artemis 2. My roommates, people, they were like, oh, we're doing that? Yeah, we're doing that. We're putting people in space. Now that they're in space, as of the time of the recording, they've been there for about 6 days. People know about it. And I see it more online, but both online and in person, I feel like before the launch, people didn't know. People need to know. This is one of those things, along with Project Hail Mary, that I think is a very unifying thing. Let's be real. The space industry, at least in America, really hasn't been about national pride since like the last time we put people on the moon. Okay, I felt like this time was very unifying. It was a very global thing. And yeah, I feel proud that it's the American space industry, it's NASA, that is putting people in space. Granted, there's a Canadian astronaut in the ship, but I feel proud that it's NASA. But here's the thing, it feels very unifying. I think along with Project Hail Mary, it is a reminder that we're in this together. And I love the pictures of from the space, from the Orion, from where they are in space, looking down at the Earth, and it's just like, wow, that's all we got. For the sake of argument, that's all we got. Isn't that crazy? It's very like, we're in this together. And then, just to end things off, is this clip from one of the astronauts, Victor Glover, the pilot. I'll show this clip. I love this clip. And I think this is definitely more politically coded. But it's a good reminder that we can talk about this kind of stuff. And I think some people think, especially like that high up, he's an astronaut, he's a big deal. Especially like this recent launch. And like sometimes I feel like you can't talk about your beliefs, no matter where you stand or what religion. I think sometimes talking about your beliefs has become a little bit taboo, and I don't think it should. And so this astronaut, he shared his thoughts about creation, about God, and I thought it was, again, just pure hope core. So I'll put that at the end. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Apollo 8 had a memorable Christmas Eve reading from Genesis. Do you have a message you'd like to share from space about Easter Sunday?
You know, I don't have anything prepared. I'm glad you brought that up, though. I think these observances are important, and as we are so far from Earth and looking back at, the beauty of creation, I think for me, one of the really important personal perspectives that I have up here is I can really see Earth as one thing. And, when I read the Bible and I look at all of the amazing things that were done for us who were created, it's you have this amazing place, this spaceship. You guys are talking to us because we're in a spaceship really far from Earth, but you're on a spaceship called Earth that was created to give us a place to live in the universe, in the cosmos. I think maybe the distance we are from you makes you think what we're doing is special, but we're the same distance from you, and I'm trying to tell you, just trust me, you are special. In all of this emptiness, this is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together. I think as we go into Easter Sunday, thinking about, all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing, and that we got to get through this together.